Hello and welcome to the Speedpaint, where I'll be drawing two faun ladies. This is kind of a loose redraw of the gossiping faun ladies that you can see on screen right now that I made in 2020. But it's a very loose redraw, so they are not really gossiping anymore, and it's more of a just a portrait drawing of these two ladies. I wanted to see how much my style has changed in these 3 years, and I also just really felt like drawing them because I think they're really cute. I started by making this sketch, and I also put a little bit of shadows in there because I cannot live without shadows on my sketch, otherwise I feel like it's really incomplete and I don't really like it. So I make some quick shadows and try to form the face. I've only drawn the blonde girl once, and that is in the Gossiping Fawns photo, and so I have never drawn her from any other angle, so I can kind of do what I want with it. Same goes for the other girl, which I've only drawn twice. And I've only drawn her from the front and then from the side, so I've never drawn her in this particular angle. Another thing that I tried to do with this drawing is that I tried to give them smaller eyes than I usually would give them, because I've kind of been wanting to try drawing smaller eyes because I always give my characters these humongous eyes and I feel like they can be a bit too much sometimes. Because I've only drawn these faun girls a couple of times, I have a lot of freedom to kind of make new choices and design them a bit differently. So I decided to give the blonde girl some freckles, just to give her some extra details, and I also changed a few small other things throughout the design, such as putting some hair in front of the blonde girl's ears because I didn't have that before and it looked a bit empty there and a little bit weird. And I also decided to give her white eyelashes, which you will see later on. Here I am trying to draw the hand of one of the faun girls, and it is not going too well. I mean, it's an alright hand, but the autonomy of the arms and the bodies are not really there, and I wish I could say that it gets fixed later on, but it does not. It's not gonna get any better. And then here I started drawing in the brunette girl's hair. So she has this very nice hairstyle where she has braids in the front of her ears and then a bun and bangs. So I'm actually really happy with the design of her hairstyle, and I do not change it from the original design since I like it so much. So both of the girls get these kinds of horns that are kind of long and mostly straight but bent a little bit backwards. And I do like these horns, but I do kind of wish that I had made them a bit more different, so that maybe one had these horns and another one had other types of horns. Because I am a big fan of horns and draw a lot of different types, but I decided to just keep them more to the original design and give them the same type. Here I'm blocking in the colors, so first I just put them flat down and then I go in with the shading afterwards. I decided to go in with some very light line art, mostly just for the face, so the eyes, nose, mouth, and then a little bit around the jaw later on, just so that it is easier for me to shade it afterwards. Here I finally started shading the face, which was really fun. I start with this very nice pink color for the blush, mostly on the nose, on the cheeks, and under the eyes. I decided to give her really strong under eyes and strongly colored lips. And then I go in with this kind of peachy brown color for the shadows, which is mostly around the nose and a little bit under the eyes, around the face, and under her face, so her neck. Then it was time for the highlights, which is under the eyebrows, a little bit on the forehead, and some nice highlights. And here I go in with the eyelashes. So I started with the dark color for the line art, and then I just went with white on top, and then I went with black again, or this dark brown color, around the eyelashes to form them and make them more visible against the pale skin color. And then I shaded in the hand real quick before I started shading the horns. That's also pretty nice and easy to color horns, but also very effective, and I always really end up liking the horns because there are a lot of curves and a lot of small details you can get in there. And next up is the blonde girl's hair, and I just use this gray color to kind of draw in some strands of hair and yeah, make them kind of big and bulky because I don't like drawing hair and I don't feel like making details, so I just do it kind of roughly and quickly. And then in the end I get to add some nice highlights, which is just straight up white because she has this ash blonde type of hair color. And here I draw in the other girl's face. She is also really fun to shade, mostly because we start with this very light tan color, and to bring a lot of life into it and make her look like she has an even darker complexion, I put a lot of shadows in there. So it's really fun to see how it all comes together, and I add a lot of this pinkish purple blush, which I also think just suits her really well and is a really nice color. I wish I used this color palette more often actually, I think it's really nice. Then a little tip, when you shade a darker skin tone, do not use white for the highlights, use more of this creamy color. It looks so much better and she looks more natural and not as dead in the face. I feel like I could also have gone with an even creamier color here actually, to make her look even better. But I wanted to stay true to the original color palette where I used this color. And then here I am shading in her hair, and this was kind of tricky because she has a very dark hair color and I really want to showcase the braids and make them visible. So I made her hair color a slightly lighter tone first before I added in shadows, and then I kept these, or made these pink purplish highlights, which were also in the original that I really liked. Here I'm shading in the eyes, and in the original she also has this very muted colored eyes, same with the blonde girl, and then this very high contrast strong color on the bottom of the eyes that I decided to keep because I really liked it. Here I am shading in the clothes, and I did not add any line art because I didn't feel like it, so it is just a lineless, kind of simple looking clothing style, and I add a lot of highlights and shadows to kind of make them pop. Here I am adding in or shading the ruffles, and when I'm done with that, it is time for the background. Here I also wanted to stay true to the original background, and I started with the same color palette and kind of make just the same motions and the same patterns to make a very similar looking background. But then when I had kind of made it, I wasn't really liking the color palette, so I changed that up and made it a bit greener and more lively because I feel like that fitted a bit better. But even when I was finished with this, I didn't like it that much and made some different versions of it. So first a little bit of grass, and then you can see me trying out different stuff. So I tried darker, I tried lighter, I tried duller, and in the end I decided to go with a bit of a more muted color palette after all, so it will look like the original, and I also blurred out the background a little just to make it a bit prettier. Here is time for the highlights and the final details like the freckles, and that is pretty much it for this drawing. Here is the final result, and I'm actually pretty happy with it. There are some things that I could have done better, like the autonomy, but otherwise I think it's good, and it is definitely an improvement from the original. Here is a close-up of their faces, and that is pretty much it. So thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you liked it, and I will see you again next week. Goodbye!